Well, Mr. Vulture, tarnation, we got Belmonts out on the claim.
What's going on, prospectors? Dig Daddy out here in the shed, bringing you another episode of Backyard Prospecting. So today, as you probably figured out, we got ourselves a bag from Lynch Mining. We got this a long time ago, but they still have them up on their site, so you can definitely pick yourself up a bag. But we got ourselves a bag of that Belmont Pay. Now, this is a really basic pay dirt. It's not fancy. It's not in a fancy bag or anything like that. It's just some dirt out of the ground that they have there on their claim, and they say they do pretty well with them. I'll read you the description here so you can get an idea of what it is that we're working with today. If I can get my phone unlocked. And I'll put the description up for you here as well so you can read along. Belmont Paydirt is not only worth every penny, but it will keep you busy for at least an hour or two. Our Belmont bags come from Belmont Mountain, Arizona, and our land is a skip and a jump from the Belmont mine. These bags are guaranteed to contain gold and will come unclassified. And yeah, there's some big rocks in here, and we're going to go through those and get all that out of the way and see if there's any gold at the bottom of our sack. Now, they sell so well, they say that they're pushing about 4,000 of these a month. So they must be doing all right if people are picking them up that much. But we get 5 pounds of material. So we're going to break all that down. And we'll see what we get. Now, I got this in a package with a couple other dirts quite a while ago. And so I'm not going to go over how it was packaged. It was in a box. There was foam. It was protected. Now, the bag itself is just a Ziploc bag. Like I say, it doesn't come in a fancy bag at all. But we do get 5 pounds of pay dirt. Not too shabby. So we're going to classify this out, see what we're working with, and then we're going to find us some gold. So stick around. We're going to move over here to the classification view, and we're going to shake things out. Don't go nowhere. All right, we got our little buckets. We got our dirt. Got some pans, and we're ready to go. So we're going to start off with the 1/4 inch. Get that big stuff out of the way. All that stuff we're probably not going to be doing anything with. Gotta go kind of slow because it's a big sloppy bag. A lot of dirt, so now, since this dirt comes from an actual working mine, and any dirt that you come across that came from an actual mine, I definitely recommend maybe holding on to the larger pieces and seeing if there's anything in there that might be holding gold. If you have a rock crusher, put that baby to use. Crush some stuff up and see if you can find a few more flakes. The best gold is in your vial. All right, so that takes care of the plus 1/4 inch stuff. still a good amount of pay dirt in here. We'll get these big rocks out of the way. There are a couple in here that might be worth crushing up. Some decomposing granite. So, maybe find a little something extra. Next up, we got our +10. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed things along, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back. We'll slow things back down here so you can hear me in real time. So here's what we wound up with. We got all of our dirt classified and separated out. Try zooming out a little bit. We got our 1/4 inch. Considering the amount of dirt and that it's unsearched, unprocessed, you know, that's not too bad. It's actually not too terrible. Nothing, like I say, maybe crush it up, see if there's anything extra that you can get out of there, out of some of the nicer looking pieces, but for the most part, you're just going to toss that. Next, we got our +10. Now, this amount here goes about halfway up the first riffle. A good amount of material to go through. I'm not seeing any gold in here, but, you know, you never know. So we're going to run it down the sluice and see what we come back with. Next up, we got our +20. This definitely is feeling a little bit heavier. Now this is going to go all the way up almost to the top of that first riffle here in the blue pan. These are about a 12-incher. And good amount of material here. And hopefully we'll find some pieces of gold in here. Only a little bit on the magnetics, nothing too heavy. Next up, we got our +40. Just about the same amount of material as the +20, maybe a little bit less, but it goes up, no, I'd say actually about the same. Goes up to the top of that first riffle. As far as magnetics go, a little bit more than the +20, but not too terrible. Pretty consistent with what we usually see out of AZ dirt. Surprisingly though, there is actually a fair amount coming out of here. Now the description says there's a lot of magnetic sands in here, and you know what? Now that I'm playing with it a little bit more, it is pretty heavy in the black sands. So if you got some sort of a separator to separate those magnetics out, might be worth putting the effort in. But we're just going to run it all. You know how we do it. Now finally we got the -40s, the soft sands. Not quite as much material in here as in the other classifications. Just right above that first riffle in the pan. As far as magnetics go, we're right in line with what we were seeing in the larger classification. The +40, same thing in the -40. There's a lot of magnetics down here. So, and to be expected, most of your magnetics are going to be smaller. They're going to pile up down at the bottom in the finer material. And of course, that's also where your gold's going to be. So, looks like we're going to have our work cut out for us. But there you go. Next, we're going to wet this stuff up, fire up the sluice, and see what kind of gold we can find. Don't go anywhere. All right. we got this dirt all wetted up, ready to run. All we need to do now is fire up the sluice. Let's find ourselves some pay dirt. Or some gold. We already found the pay dirt. Now we just need to find the gold in it. Now, since this is a lot of dirt, I'm not going to make you guys sit through the whole thing. I'm going to run through the 10, do a little bit of the 20, and then we're going to speed things along just to save y'all from falling asleep. 10 should go pretty quick. I don't expect to see any gold here. Usually with Lynch mining, the gold that they add anyways is going to be in the 20 or 40 mesh. That is if they add gold to this, 17 bucks. This may just be straight up dirt out the ground. It definitely has that rusty red Arizona pay color that you get used to seeing from there. Kind of grows on you after a bit. That was our 10s. We'll move on down to the 20. A lot of dirt to process here. So, get this bigger crap, get it out of the way. Alright, let's do this. Like I say, I'm going to speed things along, and we'll be right back. Alright, now let's see if we can see anything in here. Hopefully there's at least a little bit of gold. And yeah, definitely I'm seeing some shiny in there. Nice little nugget right there, another little shiny pieces in there, another piece there, so it's looking pretty good so far. We'll get this cleaned up and let's see what we wound up with. All right. There you go. There's your gold, baby. Couple decent pieces in there. Mostly uniform, as you come to expect from a lot of Lynch's stuff. The gold they pull out, I guess, is all pretty much the same size. A couple little bigger pieces, though. Almost call them pickers. But not too shabby. We'll get these suckered up, weigh them up, and see how much gold we actually found. Stick around. Alright, welcome back. We got this gold all dried up. Scale's ready to go. And Miner Bob and his ass are hanging by to see how everything turns out. So, we got ourselves a bag. Gold from a bag of that Belmont Paydirt from Lynch Mining. And what we wound up getting out of that, 0.233 grams of gold. Not too bad. All right. So there you go. 2.33 grams of gold. I'm going to take a couple pictures of these so you guys can get up close and personal with it. And we'll be right back with my final words and ROI. All right, welcome back. All right, how about that? The Belmont Paydirt from Lynch Mining, not too bad. Let's talk about the dirt, then we'll get on to the gold. The dirt was that good old reddish, ruddy brown Arizona Paydirt. You know, same stuff you come get used to if you ever bought anything from Lynch. That's what their dirt is. Nothing wrong with that. There was a lot of magnetics in there, and I mean there was a lot of magnetics in there. You wouldn't notice it at first, but the lower classifications were just dusted full of magnetics. I don't know if I would say it's like 95%, like I think the description says, but it's definitely a fair amount. I got a lot of that out of the way to begin with, just so I didn't have to deal with it on the sluice. Definitely worth the time to go through and separate it if you have the means to do it. Otherwise, just expect that you're going to have a little bit of a challenge there because there's a lot of black sand in this dirt. Now, other than that, the classifications of the dirts was pretty even across the board. No one classification was overwhelming above the others, so no problems there. There was a good amount of dirt within each classification. And yeah, so not too bad. There wasn't a lot of superfines, and that's good because there was no superfine gold. It was all pretty much, well, we'll get to the gold in a minute. Let's talk about that gold. So the gold itself was all, as you get to, if you've ever bought Lynch Mining, you know that their gold is usually pretty uniform in size. They not really, unless you're getting something that they specifically tell you there's going to be some fines in, you generally don't expect there to be any of it. And there was none in this. It was all that 10, 20 mesh size, maybe 30 mesh-ish, but it was all pretty uniform. There was a couple of pieces that were just a little bit bigger than the others. Cool to see that, but otherwise, all pretty much the same. So I would say probably not classify this dirt, except for the big stuff. Get the big stuff out of the way, the 1/4 inch, the 10 plus mesh. Chances are you're not going to find any gold there, so you can just get that out of the way to begin with, toss it over to the side, crush it up, maybe you might find some fine gold in there. But definitely gold, the dirt, I would say just pan it out. If you separate it all, you're going to be a little disappointed because all your gold is going to be in that one mesh. Or you could just dig right to that and go for that one mesh, you know, plus 20, somewhere in there, but plus, yeah, somewhere in there, about 20 or 30. And just get the gold out of there and toss the rest of the dirt away, and you probably are okay, but I wouldn't recommend that because you never know. There could be a bigger piece, smaller pieces, so it's worth running it all, except for the big pieces because, you know, there's probably not any gold in those boulders. But what we wound up finding, let's go ahead and put the sign up right here. Boom! we wound up finding 0.233 grams of gold. Pretty surprising, because the bag only cost us $17.10. It's a big bag of dirt, $17, but at today's value, that 2.33, that almost quarter gram of gold, gets us about $14.16 of value. So, as of today, that ROI is going to be pushing about 82%. Now, of course, there is some shipping in there, so, get multiple bags from them at once to kind of even out your return. But overall, the dirt was solid, it had a good amount of gold for what I paid, and there was a nice amount of dirt. I like it when there's a lot of dirt to go through because it gives you something to do. It's better than just running a couple teaspoons and finding a gram of gold. I like working for it, and they definitely give you a nice amount of dirt to work through. So, absolutely, it's a good time to be had. I would say maybe pick up a few of these because the price on them is pretty good. They do have larger size buckets of this stuff available, and so you can get what you'd like. Get whatever works for you. But if you wind up getting the $17 one, the cheap seats bag, I think you're going to have a pretty decent time going through it. You're going to get a lot of material. Probably good for testing out equipment, home sluice setup so that you can run amounts of dirt through there and see what you're catching. So yeah, definitely recommend pick one up, check it out. Check out some of their other stuff on their site. It's always a pretty good time to be had there. 82% ROI, I'll take it, and I'll keep it with a smile. So definitely recommend that out. I'll put a link down below so you can check out their site if you don't already know how to get there. Otherwise, that's all I got for you this week. This is Dig Daddy signing out from the shed. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, and if you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell and all the yada 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 blah blah blahs. If you really love what I'm doing here, hit me up on Patreon, become a Patreon member, and you can get entered in our monthly raffle for some pay dirt. I just give a bag away along with the patrons at the $50 level who get a bag of dirt. So check that out as well. Otherwise, head over to Teespring, get yourself some backyard prospecting merch, get yourself a mooch shirt, get yourself a gold digger shirt, and all sorts of accessories as well. So, otherwise, this is Dig Daddy signing out from the shed. Just want to thank you all one more time for hanging out with me here. And if I don't see you out at the rivers, I'll catch you in the backyard. Peace!